Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to Football Worldwide and to another edition of European Weekly Catch Up. I am your host, Jono, and back with my beautiful co-host after a couple of days off, Bruno. It is so good to have you back, brother. How are you, my friend?
It is good to be back, and it is even better to have football back. It's been a long break, and normally I don't say that when it comes to international break, but when you have such quality football and continuous, you don't want it to end. But look, guys, let's get straight into it. On today's show, we will be covering match day 4 of the Premier League as well as match day 3 of the Serie A. We will then move into La Liga and Bundesliga, which we will be covering. Match day 4 of both of those. Ligue 1, match day 5 review. Some surprising results there. We'll then go to Around the Grounds, ones to watch, and we will then wrap it up, guys. But like always, please give us a like, give us a subscribe, and you cut me off early there, so we
Sorry,
will get
buddy.
straight into it. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. But English Premier League, we started match day 4 with Crystal Palace up against Tottenham Hotspur, and it was a 3-0 win for them there. Watford, well, they struggled against the Wolves, losing 2-0. Brentford, is the party over? I'm not sure, but they lost 1-0 to Brighton. Arsenal finally get 3 points after on their 4th match day, defeating second last place Norwich City. Manchester United, well, it was the Ronaldo show. Everyone was there to see him, and it was a 4-0 win. They walked out victors there. Southampton and West Ham shed the spoils in the only draw of the round. 0-0 draw there. Manchester City redeemed their loss in the Community Shield earlier this season, defeating Leicester 1-0. Chelsea, well, they continued their unbeaten streak at the start of the season, as well as Liverpool, who both came out 3-0 victors. Chelsea defeated Aston and Liverpool defeated Leeds United. And Everton, well, they had 3 goals in the space of 6 minutes when they defeated Burnley 3-1. But let's get straight into it, Jonathan. It was the Ronaldo show. Manchester United, they defeated Newcastle 4-1. The hype was there. Everyone was there to see Cristiano Ronaldo and his second debut for the club, and it could not have went any better. They got the 3 points. He scored 2 goals. But does this just change your perspective on Manchester United and their capabilities this season?
Yeah, it actually does. To be honest, you got to take into the fact Ronaldo is one of the modern day Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the modern day greats, and taking that into account, what does he bring to Manchester United other than goals, professionalism, accountability to his other players, and a level of respect and bringing up that team's perspective to raise them another level. Now, in saying that, Ole is not my most favorite manager, as I've stated previously. But what they've got in Ronaldo is a pure out leader. He's won everything there is in club football. He's now bringing back to Manchester United. He's a much wiser and smarter player than what he was when he left. He's done everything, like I had said, and he's just going to raise that club to instead of being a top 4 contender now, I see them as a top 2 contender. So that being the case, I do think that they're going to raise a level and they're going to be able to even push for titles.
Yeah, look, I think you've basically narrowed everything down that I was going to say. But essentially, the debut of Ronaldo just shows what the team needed. And there's been a couple of reports that have come out of England stating that the couple of nights before their first match day that Ronaldo featured in, well, none of the team ate dessert because they all looked at Ronaldo's plate and saw he wasn't eating dessert. So you can already tell he's got that impact on the team. When you've got a team like Manchester United as well, there's a lot of egos. There's a lot of people who think, well, I'm at this club. I know what I am. You've got your Pogbas, you've got your Edison Cavani's, you've got your David De Gea's, you've got your Fernandez. But what you need is a player who can hold everyone accountable, and that player's Ronaldo. He's one of the greats, like you said. But it's one of those things where you need that, and we saw with Real Madrid their dominance in Europe. well, that team was full of egos. But you had a Ramos who was the captain at the time, and he really did control it, and he ensured that there was stability there. He might not be captain, but everyone does look up to Ronaldo. I think that's all that should be said about the Manchester
Yeah.
Newcastle fixture. We'll move on to Chelsea, who defeated Aston Villa 3-0. But we've gone from the Ronaldo show to the Lukaku show. He scored the opening goal, he scored the closing goal, but he's just carried his form from last season at Inter Milan across to Chelsea. Is Lukaku the missing piece to the puzzle, Jonathan? We saw Chelsea's success in Europe last year, and they struggled in the Premier League. Is Lukaku that player that will help them in Europe, but also maintain their chances within the Premier League?
So the to say similar to Ronaldo, Lukaku's come back to Chelsea, made his second debut this season, and he's come leaps and bounds since he first left Chelsea back all those years ago. He's a leader now. Under Antonio Conte, when he was at Inter Milan, he completely stripped down his playing style and built him back up into the man and striker he is today. And in my opinion, top 3 strikers in the world. So that being the case, he's really stepped up. Now there was a lot of criticism of him going back to England. Is he only going to show up in the smaller games and not against the big ones? Other than that game that they had against Liverpool, where they, when they were down a man, he still stepped up. He was still able. It was a different game. They were a man down at that stage as well, but he still made chances, and he still went on to be a big time and big game player to what he should be, and being a leader of that squad. So yes, to me, he is the missing piece of the puzzle, which I had stated at the beginning of the season in our predictions. I thought that Chelsea were going to be the biggest threat for Manchester City, but now, with Ronaldo back at Manchester United, I think that you got to throw their hat in the ring there as well. But yeah, with Lukaku there and Tuchel as the manager, they can definitely go pretty far.
Yeah, definitely, and I think you've also covered what I was about to say there. You've got Tuchel, who has this Chelsea team, and you said that Manchester United is a top 2 team. Well, Chelsea's a top 2 team, Manchester City's a top 2 team, and Liverpool's a top 2 team. So at the end of the day, we've got 4 top 2 teams, and only 2 of them can finish there.
That's
but
right.
I think this will be probably one of the most competitive seasons within the English Premier League that we've seen in some time. We've seen Manchester City run away multiple times. We've seen Liverpool go leaps and bounds, but it's been a while since it's been such a competitive season there. I think we'll go from one undefeated team to the next. Liverpool, who are currently equal leaders with Chelsea, Manchester United, and Everton, and they defeated Leeds 3-0. Salah gets his 100th Premier League goal, and they just looked a dominant force. And again, are they? I think we cannot pick an outright winner for this Premier League. But my question to you is now going to go outside of Prem. Are we looking at a Liverpool team that can replicate the Champions League glory that they had a couple of years ago?
I think so. And purely on the fact that Van Dijk is an absolute beast at the back there. He looks like that he has probably not gone to the full heights he was before he got injured, because it was a pretty severe injury that he did suffer. But he's getting close, and you can tell match by match he's getting back to his best. So they will definitely be a force to be reckoned with in Europe as well as in England. So yeah, that being the case, what did you think of the red card though, Bruno? Was it red card sufficient? It was a bit of a nasty one, but what's your take on that?
It was horrendous to watch live. You see his leg. You've seen tackles like this before, and there was one earlier a couple of years ago involving Son, who received an instant red card, and I think that was a leg break. But when you watch the replays, you can see there was no intention to
Yeah.
cause harm. The legs were tucked in, but at the same time, he went from behind. He collected the player and didn't collect the ball. So essentially, you really got to say, well, is there an argument where it should be a red card? And yeah, I think the red card is credible there. But when you look at who got who got injured, and Elliot, he was thrown into the ring by Klopp, and you could just see he has performed extremely well under Klopp. He's come out and he said no, it wasn't a red card. I think it's probably sportsmanship. The kid's 18. I think he's trying to be that great sportsman, but I think the Premier League is what it is, and it is one of the more serious conduct leagues where you have tackles and that are extremely hard to judge because it's such a fast-paced league. But overall, look, back to Liverpool, they've conceded one goal all season. And the same goes for Chelsea. And well, when did they concede that one goal? Well, it was against each other.
Yep.
Right? They've both scored 9. They've both conceded 1. And well, if you're scoring more goals than the other team, you're always going to win. Let's leave the Premier League there. We'll move on to the Serie A, which this week we did have a couple of surprise results and some, not so much surprises, but we're starting to see the table take shape. So, Jonathan, but without further ado, run us through the results.
Yep. So the first match to take it off was Venezia defeated Empoli 2-1. They were the two newly promoted teams. Now, Napoli took advantage of a depleted Juventus and won 2-1. Atalanta and Fiorentina. Yeah, there was another surprise there. Fiorentina winning over Atalanta 2-1. Sampdoria and Inter Milan had played out a 2-2 draw, which was a great result for Sampdoria there. Genoa and Cagliari. Genoa beat Cagliari 3-2. Torino absolutely demolished Salernitana 4-0. Udinese, with their recent form of performing, they got a 1-0 win over Spezia. Milan with an absolutely dominating performance over Lazio 2-0. Roma in Jose Mourinho's 1000th match, winning 2-1 over Sassuolo, and Bologna with a 1-0 victory over Verona. Bruno, this was an exciting match day. This had threw up a couple of surprises. But, mate, what's your take on these? If I could take it to the first one I wanted to mention, Napoli defeating Juventus 2-1.
Look, I think that Napoli took advantage of a Juventus who were extremely undermanned. And what you'll find will be the common trend this week where the results we're going through is a lot of teams were impacted by international duty. And a lot of players played a lot of minutes in international duty. But one of the big factors this time around was the South American international fixtures and qualifications were finished literally 24 to 36 hours prior to kickoff. So you're missing a lot of players, and Juventus were one of those teams to suffer the most. Napoli, all credit to them, they did get the win. Koulibaly got the winning goal at the back end of the game. But look, I think the main take isn't Napoli getting the win. It's another points dropped for Juventus, and there are only 1 point after 3 fixtures. It is a tale which is not too familiar with a lot of fans. So when will we see Juventus pick back up? Will we see Juventus pick back up? I don't know. They have 1 point, like I said, after 3 games, Jonathan. But it's Juventus. Is it too early to rule them out?
I think it is too early to rule them out, but they really need to start getting some continuity together because they are looking not the team of what we are used to for the past 10 years, even though they won that 9 in a row. They were still competitive for most of last year as well. So in saying that, yeah, I would not rule them out yet purely for the Allegri factor. He's too good of a manager to be able to let his team drops so long. Even 1 point out of a possible 9 is less than what anyone would have expected for this Juventus team. But they don't have a quality team compared to what they have in the past years. So, but, credit where credit's due. Napoli played an amazing game. Spalletti's got that team firing quite well. Koulibaly with that match winner near the death. Absolutely great goal. He's looking close to almost one of the best defenders he was from a few years back. So definitely very good to see where he's performing back again.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think that Napoli, along with AC Milan and AS Roma, they are three teams who are currently 9 points from 9 points with 3 straight wins. But we'll move into the next team, which is AC Milan. They defeated Lazio 2-0. Now, there's 2 points I want to make here. Let's focus on AC Milan for a moment here. They are undefeated. They are 3 from 3, 9 points out of 9 points. Now, this is sort of resembling the start they had last season, but are they capable to maintain this? Are they capable to go all the way this season and get the win?
Yeah, definitely. The difference between Milan this season compared to last is the fact that they've got more depth. They've got a bigger bench, and they've got that. They were one of the few teams that didn't have a manager change during the off season, so they've got that continuity, and also the players they lost, they've been able to replace quite well. So they're actually, they did have losses, but they've replaced them well. Tonali's been a great addition for them. Giroud playing well as well as Zlatan getting that goal as well. It was just they're going to be a lot better than what they were last year. And last year they finished second by the end of it. So there was but in saying that, Lazio disappointing in saying that, but we know Maurizio Sarri's philosophy takes time for teams to implement and to get used to and so forth. So they're still going to need a couple of games to get used to what he wants out of them. But they're definitely going to. Milan absolutely dominated this game.
Yeah. And look, I think overall, if you look at Lazio's opening 2 fixtures, they were against Empoli and Spezia, where they scored 9 and conceded 2. But their first real challenge, there were no shows. Let's move to the other side of the capital. Roma defeated Sassuolo 2-1. This match here was more important, not about the result. It was more important for the manager, Jose Mourinho, who has managed his 1,000th fixture. I'm going to focus here on him for a moment. Is he one of the greatest managers we've seen in our time?
Yes, straight out, yes. And not just because of we're Inter fans and what he did for us in winning the treble back in all those time ago, but 1,000 matches in charge, 25 trophies. I think it was 650 wins or something like that. That type of record, that's just a that I'd love to see how many draws and losses he had out of those, out of the rest of that part as well. But that just shows he's just a top class manager. Yes, he may have lost a bit of a touch when he was at Manchester United and again at Tottenham. But this season so far, he's come out and got Roma playing a different style. He's almost seemed to have reinvented himself to a certain extent. They're playing attacking football. It's not the boring, old school Mourinho style that we were probably used to when he was in the Premier League. But yeah, the other thing, you go on, mate.
Are they the dark horses? Do you see them going under the radar? Because no one's really given Roma the credit they deserve yet.
I want to give Roma a lot of credit because of Mourinho, but I still don't. I just think that there are a few of the other teams that are just a touch better in regards of caliber of players and also deepness of quality of their bench and reserves that they can bring in. They've still got to play in the not the Europa League. The Conference League as well. So once we got this next period coming up, which is going to be pretty jam-packed So we'll see what they can do from there.
Yeah, well, look, let's leave that at that and move on to the Spanish league, the La Liga. And what a match day it was. There was some amazing fixtures, some amazing stories to come out of it. But without further ado, Jonathan, here's the results table. It's quite short because we got to make mention that we had two fixtures that were postponed, and that was the Barcelona Sevilla fixture as well as Villarreal, and that was due to them having too many absentees due to international duty in South America. So just keep that in mind. Jonathan, the
Yep.
table's
So
yours.
the rest of the fixtures that took place, Levante and Rayo Vallecano played a 1-1 draw. Athletic Club beat Mallorca 2-0. Atletico Madrid and Espanyol. Atletico Madrid got away with very deep with a winner there with a 2-1 win over Espanyol. Valencia and beat Osasuna 4-1. Real Sociedad beat Cadiz 2-0. Real Madrid belted Celta Vigo 5-2. Elche beat Getafe 1-0. And Real Betis beat Granada 2-1. Bruno, if I can take you to the first match I wanted to mention, Atletico Madrid left it very late with a 99th minute winner to win 2-1 over Espanyol. Mate, this game had so much to it.
Yeah, look, it was one of those fixtures that you just knew there was going to be a million different tosses and turns. And when the umpire held up, the linesman held up the board and it said 10 minutes extra time, you just knew something was coming.
Yeah.
You literally knew something was coming because it's very rare you see anything past 5 minutes extra time, let alone 10 minutes. And like you said, it was a 99th minute goal. But I think it just shows the quality of Atletico and Diego Simeone and how he's got his squad at the moment, because it just seems to be they're getting these wins. Last fixture, they got the last minute draw with a terrible own goal by the other team. But I just think you don't score, or you don't have own goals scored for you without the presence of pressure. And Atletico are always applying that pressure. So, yeah, look, they're not current champions for a reason, and they just prove their quality and their never say die attitude. Jonathan, this week we've got Champions League coming up, and Atletico, well, they've made their name in the La Liga. Can they maintain their form into the Champions League, and are they going to provide? Do you think they've got a chance to make the, let's say, Final Four?
Of the Champions League?
Correct.
Yeah, look, the thing with the Champions League, you got to take into consideration and remember, guys, we've got a Champions League show coming up, which we're going to be covering as well. So be sure to keep in touch with us for that. We'll got some further details for that later on. But guys, they can. The difference between Atletico Madrid and a lot of other squads out there is the quality of what they have. You know, they got João Felix, Suarez, Correa, Griezmann back as well as you're starting. You know, any of those four players can start at any club anywhere in the world, and they've got them all at the Atletico with Diego Simeone managing them as well. He brings a steal to that club, and he's not the highest paid manager in the world for no reason. He is definitely someone that you want there managing your team, and they play for him. So yes, I think top four, last four, I don't know actually, to be honest, but I actually do think that they're probably favorites to win the La Liga again this year. With a bit of luck, and depending how they go in the Champions League, they can definitely go pretty far.
Yeah, look, definitely. And we'll move on to the next fixture. Valencia, they defeated Osasuna 4-1. But my point to you is they have been historically out out of Champions League. They're currently equal first with Real Madrid and Atletico. And are they going to be that team that hovers around the top 3, top 4? Because Barcelona look in dire straits at the moment. Are they gonna come into the top 3, top 4, or are you gonna see a drop off?
It's hard to say. Like they're actually playing well, which I was hoping at the beginning of the season that they would be performing, just for the history of what we know. What we When we were growing up, they were always a powerhouse team in Spain, and it was always, I remember Soldado as their striker back in the day, and he was always performing for them. And now they look like they've got a good mixture of players, and they're managed quite well, and they play attractive football. 4-1 over the weekend. It's a good result, and they've like you mentioned, they're tied first with Real Madrid, and I think they are tied with someone else, with
Atletico.
Atletico Madrid as well. But they've also got the same point goal differential as what Real Madrid got. So yeah, I'm eager to see how they're going to perform, and obviously not having European football to worry about, they can definitely go quite well. So yeah,
Yeah. Look, you mentioned Real Madrid being in first place, so let's go straight back to them. Real Madrid, they did defeat Celta Vigo 2-0. We got the Benzema, well, he came through with a beautiful hat trick. But my point is, yeah, they got the 3 points, but this team is also the same team that conceded 2 goals to Celta Vigo. You might have scored 5, but you did concede 2. Does this pose a? We've mentioned multiple times Ramos and Varane both leaving in the same transfer window. Are we seeing the fact that they concurrently outscored the opposition, but in the tight ones, are they going to be the ones who are going to lose those 50-50s?
no. Reason why, the one of the goals that they scored, that they had conceded against them, was off a counter attack. They were literally pushing forward, and it was pushed out to the right wing, taken out, and that was the second goal. Sorry, and yeah, no, I'm not as concerned as what I was previously, because they do seem to. I know they conceded 2, but it was off the run of play. And actually, the first goal was a brilliant goal from Santi Mina. Actually, absolutely peach of a goal, to be honest. And yeah, no, they did quite well. So no, I'm not too concerned. They've just got that much quality in them, so they're going to be there performing. But I think we'll leave that one there, Bruno, and move on to our next league. So, as we wanted to see, the German Bundesliga.
Yes, the Bundesliga, and what a match day it was there. We started off with a 7 goal thriller between Bayer Leverkusen and Borussia Dortmund, and Dortmund came out 4-3 victors there. Union Berlin and Augsburg, well, it wasn't that interesting. It was a 0-0 draw there. Freiburg and Köln shared the spoils in a 1-1 draw there. Guferfurth, well, they allowed Wolfsburg to continue their perfect start to the season, who came out 2-0 victors. Mainz defeated Hoffenheim 2-0. Bayern Munich defeated RB Leipzig 4-1 in a goalfest. Eintracht Frankfurt and Stuttgart shared the spoils in a 1-1 draw. Bochum struggled against Hertha Berlin in a 3-1 win. And Mönchengladbach, well, they were too dominant and walked away 3-1 winners there. But, man, it was everything we wanted it to be. The hype was real. Dortmund, Leverkusen, 4-3. These two teams have such a rich history in the Bundesliga, and it's something you see year in and year out. But this fixture itself, it did not disappoint. Who was your standout? You got to give it to someone from Dortmund, surely.
Yeah, this was an entertaining game, and it's hard to go past Haaland again. To be honest, he just shows up more matches than not. He's pretty consistent. He had a quiet one a couple of weeks ago where he didn't get on the score sheet, and they had that loss. But yeah, look, Yeah, they're just too good. There's actually too much quality on the field now, to be honest. Haaland at front, and they've seemed to have stealed their. Well, I know they conceded a few this game, but they're just well managed. They honestly are, and they actually know where they all need to be, and they actually you can just see their passages of play, the runs that are being made, and the passes that are going through. You just know it's going to make the mark and go where it needs to be. They look like they've gotten over the loss of Sancho, and they've brought a few other players into the fold, which have been performing quite well for them. So, no, they've it's hard to go past how good they actually are.
Yeah. Look, I think we leave that one there. Other than mentioning Leverkusen, we did predict they could potentially crack into the top four and maintain and get that Champions League berth that they've been looking for. But the team who's gone perfect so far this season, Wolfsburg, they defeated Gütersloh 2-0. They've got the perfect season. Now, their first fixture in the Champions League is against Lille, who are the current French champs, and they did it against all odds. But are we looking at a Wolfsburg that can defy all odds and push through to get uh, Bundesliga glory by the end of
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Before we get on to what they've got happening in Bundesliga, in the Champions League, I just wanted to make a mention of their manager, Mark Van Bommel. You know, he's their first time managing such a big team like this, and this is their best start to a season ever for Wolfsburg, and it's a perfect start in their opening fixtures. So credit to him, and they're outperforming better than what they ever have. So credit where it's due. Now, in what they've got coming up in Champions League against Lille, Lille have been a basket case in regards to how they've started the season in the Ligue 1. They've started to get some type of continuity, even though they had a loss over the weekend. But you know, they're probably one of the weakest champions going around at the moment. Wolfsburg, in my mind, in my eyes, they've actually got them covered. The way of how they've been performing and how they've been playing, like I said, Van Bommel's got them playing so well. So I think this will be an easy win for them.
Yeah, no, look back to my question, Jonathan, though. Are they going to pull the Lille and are they going to be the unpredicted champions of the Bundesliga, or is this just an early run that no one's really everyone's expecting the wheels to fall off the cart eventually?
I don't think the wheels will completely fall off, but I don't think they'll become champions. I think they'll do a lot better than what they were. In saying that, you know, one of the next teams we're going to get to, RB Leipzig, they've had their team absolutely decimated in the transfer market. So I think, if anything, Wolfsburg will be the new top four team and take over RB Leipzig's place.
Yeah, well, look, they did finish in the top four last season, so I'm
Ah,
assuming
silly me.
they are in Champions League. But look, no, I get what you mean. They can improve on that fourth
Yes,
spot.
that's what I should have said.
Definitely, they definitely can, and we will move on to RB Leipzig, who are currently struggling. And you mentioned that they got decimated in the transfer window, but Jonathan, Bayern Munich is never an easy task, and well, at the end of the day, did Bayern Munich make a statement in this 4-1 win over RB Leipzig?
Yeah, and for a couple of reasons. The fact that they did decimate RB Leipzig, you know, they took Bruno, just refresh my memory, didn't they take both their centre backs and their
They
manager?
lost both their centre backs,
Yeah,
but they took their manager as well as one of
that's
their
right.
centre backs,
Yep,
and I think
yep.
a midfielder potentially.
So, you know, Bayern Munich flexing their muscle as they do in the German league every year, and they haven't won that many championships for no reason. So, look, they're just too good. You know, you've got Lewandowski putting in the goals like he does every week. Muller looks like he's got as old as he is, he's still performing. And look, they're just. It'll be hard for them not to win it again. In all seriousness.
Yeah, well, look, they're trying to achieve what Juventus failed to achieve and get their 10th straight
Correct.
Bundesliga title. And with the team they do have, it is definitely something we can look at. But you gotta have sympathy for RB Leipzig. They did get destroyed this transfer market. It was something that you did not expect to see, especially with a team who played so well, and especially when you've got your rivals breathing down your neck and taking your best players away from you. So it's one of those things where you got to question. Well, are you gonna can you improve? Can you improve? Can you get what you need to find something, and
Yeah.
essentially January is going to be very important to him. But I think the nail in the coffin for Leipzig was the deadline day deal Bayern Munich made with Sabitzer, their
Yeah.
midfielder. You
Yeah.
just you've taken their defense, you've taken their midfield, taken their leadership. So look, it's back to the drawing boards for RB Leipzig, and I think we leave the Bundesliga with that on that note. But
Moving
the
on to our
French league.
final league, the League French League 1.
Yes, the French League One is firing up on all cylinders at the moment, and there's a lot of anticipation, especially with the likes of Messi joining the league in the off season. But match day 5 did not disappoint. Lorient defeated Lille, who are the current champs, 2-1. Like you mentioned earlier, Jonathan, they are struggling. PSG, well, they haven't taken their foot off the pedal. They defeated Clermont-Foot 4-0. Monaco, they're struggling. They lost 2-0 to Marseille. They're out of the Champions League, so we'll talk about that a bit more. Montpellier beat Saint Etienne 2-0. Brest and Agnes shared a 1-1 draw. Bordeaux, they struggled to get the win over Lens in a 3-2 goal fest there. Rennes struggled against Reims, who came out 2-0 victors. Troyes, well, they took the game to Metz and came out 2-0 victors there, as well as Nice, who travelled to Nantes and came out 2-0 victors. And the match day 5 was wrapped up with Lyon, who defeated Strasbourg 3-1 in what was a fantastic fixture, just to say. But let's talk about the former champions, PSG. They defeated Clermont-Foot, who have proven to not be a walkover. They defeated them 4-0. But the point I want to make to you here is they did it without a lot of their stars, who, one, I feel may be resting for Champions League, but two, were still returning from international duty. Is this PSG team going to get the treble? Like, are they the real deal?
Cool. It'll be interesting to see how they actually turn up in the Champions League, because let's be perfectly honest, League 1 is a very different league compared to the Champions League. It is a lot more competitive in the Champions League compared to what they would be coming up domestically, as every league is. But in saying that, the caliber of what they actually have at their disposal, you know, Neymar, Messi, Donnarumma got his first start and he had a great game, even though Clermont-Foot, being one of our new favorite teams, and for proving us wrong from the beginning of the season, which we clearly will admit that we were wrong. But there's a lot happening with PSG, and they're just going to get better and better. Like you said, they have so many players out through international duty that didn't get back in time or had minimal rest, which is why they didn't play them. And they would be looking forward to Champions League and what else they have. So yeah, it's interesting to see what PSG have still got to come up against and what they can actually do. Can they get the treble?
Anything's
Probably.
possible.
Yeah.
Anything's possible, and you can't look past that. But you also got to take my hat off to Donnarumma, who had some big expectations going into this season and moving to PSG on a free transfer. But you gotta take your hat off. He did it. He carried his Euros form across and kept his first clean sheet. My question to you, Jonathan, is: do you see him making a more permanent presence in the league?
In the league, I don't know, because you've got what's his name again?
Navas.
Navas. Sorry, thank you. You've got Navas, who's not a slouch of a keeper as well, and he's got a little bit of an ego to him as well. So he's not going to be wanting to sit on the sideline. But you've got two top-notch, world-class goalkeepers. Like, how do you keep them happy? I wouldn't like to be Pochettino. So yeah, it's definitely, yeah. I don't know. It'll be nice to see, but tell you what, you've got two great keepers who can definitely interchange between the competitions. So I think we'll leave that one there, though, Bruno, and we'll move on to the next one.
Well,
Marseille.
we touched on it earlier. Marseille, they defeated Monaco 2-0. They Marseille have shown they are here to play this season. They are currently undefeated in the Ligue. But I think the main talking point from this is Monaco's season in trouble already. We're only 5 fixtures in, but they were eliminated by Shakhtar Donetsk in the Champions League qualification. So they've moved into Europa League. But I just think they're in this downward spiral, and it's just by the time they catch it, it's too late.
Yeah, they're in some real trouble. 5 matches played, only 4 points, and they just don't even look like a team that they don't look competitive compared to what they have been in the past years, which is a real disappointment. But Marseille, on the same aspect, you got to give them credit where credit's due. They actually performed quite well and they played quite well. They didn't let Monaco play. So, credit to Marseille, and unfortunate for Monaco. It looks like it's going to be a long season ahead for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, one of the more dominant teams in France are now dropping off. But we will move on to Lyon, who just showed they are here to play, and they defeated Strasbourg 3-1. But the story of the night and the story of Lyon's season so far is Dembele. He's returned from loan and he scored, I think, 4 goals in 5 games. 4 goals in 5 games. That's the way. And you had the presence of Shaqiri, who is their newest signing, and he provided an assist.
Yeah.
Are Lyon looking to move back into their rightful position within the top 2-3 of the Ligue table?
League. Yeah, look, after a slow start, they made some good acquisition in the transfer market, bringing Shaqiri in, and he had a good start playing this game as well. I think he only played about 60-something minutes and got that assist there. And the centre-back that was at Bayern Munich, I can't remember his name now, the German, Boateng, coming in for as well. He had a solid game for them as well, making his debut. So, yeah, like Lyon. The other thing that was about this game is the fireworks, and before the game, you could barely see for the first 20 minutes, which I think was didn't help to Strasbourg's goalkeeper in conceding that first goal. But yeah, I think they've come good. They're definitely improved from where they've needed to. First couple of games of every season is also a bit difficult. Everyone's trying to get acquainted with themselves, and the firepower that they did lose in the off season, they look like they've been able to rectify that and fix that up with Dembele back. So it's been okay.
Definitely, and I think we leave the leg on there. But let's move into one of our more favorite conversations around the grounds. So around the grounds, where we pick a fixture from outside of the leagues we've just covered today. And Jonathan, I will hand it to you first. What is the fixture you are looking forward to that will not be featured in our coverage?
So I couldn't get past it and might be a little bit biased here, but Inter Milan versus Real Madrid in the Champions League. This is a game I've been looking forward to as soon as the draw you brought out the draw for us a couple of weeks ago, Bruno. Quality game. Um, Inter with with a draw on the weekend. Real Madrid being as strong as having the history of what they are. It's going to be a top-notch game. What about yours, Bruno? What do you got?
I'm looking towards the Europa League, and I like the fixture between Napoli and Leicester. I just think both teams aren't, the best in their leagues, but this is probably one of the more entertaining fixtures that you're going to see in the competition itself, especially with the competition being the second tier in Europe. You don't get a lot of spotlight, but this game here is something that you want to keep an eye out for. But that's around the grounds for you. Let's move on to ones to watch. Ones to watch, where we pick one fixture from our 5 leagues that we cover here on European Weekly Catch Up. We pick one fixture which we think you should watch. I've got 3, so I'm hoping you pick one of them. But over to you.
Mate, what are you doing? We're not supposed to be picking that many. So I'm going to stick by our rules. And the one I couldn't get past was in La Liga, top of the table, Real Madrid versus Valencia. What can you say? Both of them are on 10 points. Both of them are on equal goal differential. This is going to be a cracker. Why are you struggling?
It wasn't one of my fixtures. That's what I'm going to say. So I've got 3, guys. Now, if you're into your English Premier League, so we're covering almost all the leagues here, but if you're into the English Premier League, you've got to catch Tottenham Hotspur take on Chelsea, which I just think Tottenham did have a fantastic start, but we're about to say, are they pretenders or not? And this fixture here is one of those fixtures that it can be extremely high intensity fixture. My second one is in the French League 1. It is PSG who play Lyon. We mentioned how strong both of these teams are at the moment, and this is a test not just for PSG because they haven't really been tested as of late, but it is definitely a test for Lyon, who have had the bar set so high from them. My third fixture, well, it comes into the Serie A, and it is Juventus who host AC Milan. And the spotlight will be on Juventus, who have struggled their start of the season with only 1 point. But there's such a rich history between these two clubs because the competition, you've got your 3 big clubs in Italy, and that is Juventus, Inter, and AC Milan. And, well, AC Milan are here to play, and the test is really to Juventus. I'm sorry, but can you seriously pick one of those? Pick the best one out of those 3, Jonathan?
You know what? When you put it like that, you can tell we're football worldwide here, and we're trying to cover all the best matches for you here, guys. So, Bruno, while you catch your breath, guys, I think we're going to wrap that up there. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Wait. You said we're football worldwide. You said we're football worldwide. So we got to bring the worldwide to you. Jonathan did allude to earlier in the fixture. We will be discussing Champions League, and Champions League we will be discussing after the completion of every match day. So once both days have been played, we'll do a nice quick recap, give our insights, any surprises, any stunning performances. We'll let you know, but keep an eye out for that. You're probably going to see this drop in approximately 24 hours after this video's aired. So, look, guys, I'm going to hand it to Jonathan. I've lost my breath, but let me tell you now, before Jonathan says his goodbyes, it is going to be an amazing week of football. The next 7 days consist of Champions League, Europa League, Conference League. I couldn't pick my one to watch this week because it is just so good. So, guys, if you are the neutral, there is so much content for you to watch. Jonathan.
Guys, and in saying that, Bruno, thank you again for another episode. It's always a pleasure to catch up. Guys, be sure to like and subscribe for us. Comment, Get back to us with some feedback. Help us help you. What do you want to see? What more can we do for you? And be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms, and we will be sure to get back to you. Thank you so much, guys. Love yous. Thank you for all your support, and we'll catch you again soon. Take care. Ciao.
See you later.